It's Carter here from Stardust Drive. I am responding to a video tag that my brother tagged me in, but originally Just the Noob from Just the Noob Animation Channel and A Girl in the Game had tagged us in. By us, I mean the majority of Stardust Drive, to make a video of the video game tag, which basically it asks a bunch of questions to us on our little overview of video games. William already did one, so he tagged myself, Anthony, and Chris in it, so this is my version of that tag. So the first question is, what is your all-time favorite video game? So I was thinking about this a lot, and I was going to say Snowboard Kids 2, but that one, we haven't played that one that much, and I don't really go back to that game that much. That's usually a game that you play with friends with. As you can see on our channel, that the four of us have really done recordings of that game with. So I'm gonna go with Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. I feel that that's a game that I go to a lot, and it's a game that I really love, despite the fact that none of the other Crystal Chronicle games are like that one. I don't know, there's just something that draws me to that game, and it has me keeps letting me go back to it and play it some more. I'm assuming it's all the customization that it has, with the 4 different races, all the different weapons and armor that you can get, and I don't know, just all the different dungeons that you can go to, and it's really cool. And I love the music too. The music in that game is really awesome. What is your current favorite video game? I'd have to say that one would be probably Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. Mainly because right now I'm trying to get into that game competitively, and yeah, with that game, I think I'm spending a lot more time on that one right now, trying to learn the meta, trying to get better with my main, which is Pikachu, and just trying to get better overall. I've been practicing a lot with friends, and I think that one I've been putting a lot more time into right now. This is something I really want to get invested in. So I guess, yeah, that one right now is probably one of my favorite video games. What is your favorite video game genre? So I would have to say probably RPG games. I don't know, there's just something about putting yourself into a role of a character that's just really fun and exciting. More of the games that let you play as an average soldier who's not some great leader and I don't know, someone who's the everyman. I'd rather play the everyman in a game. But yeah, RPGs in general. A lot more JRPGs actually. I like those too. But yeah, just RPG games in general are probably my favorite because they have the most customization. How long have you played video games? Okay, so when I watched William's version of this, he said 3 to 4 years old. That's what he remembers. I'm 2 years younger than him. I don't actually remember playing video games till I was 4 or 5. So he's probably played the Sega Genesis before I did. I don't really think I played the Sega Genesis that much. And what's your first game you've ever played? 96 is when Pokemon green and I think green and blue or green and red. Forget. That's when they came out in Japan, but I think they came out over here in the West in 97 or 98, and that was one of the first games I picked up was Pokemon Blue. Either that or Pokemon Yellow, because I remember having that game as well. So it was one of those two. They were actually the first games I ever played, and they were handheld games. That's the first ones I remember playing. What game have you clocked most hours into? So I was thinking about this a lot, and I think one of the games I go back to a lot, and the one I've clocked the most hours in, is Pokemon Puzzle League for the N64. I find I play that game a lot whenever I'm kind of bored. I just go through the single player campaign, and I don't know, I just go and just do it on hard mode, and I feel out of the group of us on Stardust Drive, I play that game the most, and I'm the most skilled at that game, which is weird because it's a puzzle game, and I'm not really a puzzle game kind of person, but that's the only puzzle game I really I'm kind of good at. So I can literally breeze through the hard mode of the single player in 20 minutes. I don't know, it's pretty easy. What's your longest gaming session? So, story about this, this one was pretty funny because I remember picking up Catherine when it first came out. That's also a really awesome game. But I picked it up at like noon on the day it came out, and I beat it, I believe I beat it at 10 p.m. that same day. So I beat it in 10 hours. And I don't think I really took any breaks with that. So I went through the entire game of Catherine on normal and just blew through it and made sure I could beat it in one day. And I think that's one of the longest sessions I've ever had without taking any breaks. Like, I think I only took like one break during that session, and that was just to eat dinner. Who is your favorite developer? Intelligent Systems. Intelligent Systems is a subsection of Nintendo. They work a lot more on games that involve like stats. They're a company that made Pokemon, and they've made Fire Emblem. And they make a bunch of, I think they make Codename Steam too. So, I don't know, like Pokemon and Fire Emblem are like my two favorite like series. Like two of my favorite series, and they're both made by Intelligent Systems, and Intelligent Systems is really good with those kinds of games that involve a lot of numbers, a lot of stats, and stuff like that. So I think Intelligent Systems, I didn't really have to think that hard about that one. That one's it's pretty much one of my favorite developers. Who is your favorite hero character from a game? I think it would have to be Yoshi from Super Mario. I have a lot of Yoshi plushies in my room and a lot of like Yoshi related things. I don't know if you can see this here, but over on my shelf right there, it's just like a bunch of Yoshis in the back there. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So I have a lot of Yoshi toys. I think I've been a fan of Yoshi ever since I was a little kid. I don't know, he's just very cute and very lovable. I'm definitely going to be picking up Yoshi's Woolly World when that comes out in November. But yeah, he's probably my favorite. Who is your favorite villain? I had to go with Nightmare from Soul Calibur, and that was like very, like even then there might be like other villains that I could like better than him, but he was the first one that rolled off the top of my head. Mainly it comes down to like his playstyle and like his goals in the Soul Calibur series. And he's just such a fearsome character, and like there's almost like no way you can kill him. It's just like he comes back each and every time, and like in like different forms in each one, but he's just such a powerful character, and if I was to play Soul Calibur, he's the character I'd use in like competitive play. Who is your most hated character of any game? Alright, I'd like to preface this with saying that I have nothing against homosexuality. I'm okay with it. A few of my friends are homosexuals. I'm okay with this. But my most hated character in a video game is Jan from Valkyria Chronicles. And it's not because he's a homosexual. Because he is a homosexual. But he plays up the stereotype, that like late 90s homosexual stereotype, to the just so much, and it's very annoying. And like not every homosexual is like this, and like I think that's something that like that game didn't understand at that point. That game came out in like 2007, but I don't know, just that character is really annoying, and he overplays his homosexuality so much. And what's even worse is that he's like a central character in the story. Like one of the DLC missions that you get, I think it's like Edie's detachment, he's part of that detachment. You have to hear him in every piece of dialogue, and I'm just like, you have like 20 other characters that you can choose from, at least like 8 or 9 other like rocket launcher users, because he's a rocket launcher user, because why not? But like you have 8 or 9 other guys. Why can't you choose any of the other ones that are not a like offensive homosexual stereotype? Number 12, what gaming systems do you own? So I'm gonna go with all the systems that I currently own. So right now I have a 360, a PS3, a Wii U, an N64, a Sega Genesis, a 3DS, and I think a bunch of other handhelds, like a few, like a Game Boy Advance SP, a Game Boy Advance, just a bunch of other handhelds that I can't remember, but there's like over like 10. I believe. What was your first gaming system? And this is back to the first one that I can remember. Again, the first game I ever remember playing was Pokemon Blue or Yellow. So I'd have to say my first gaming system was Game Boy Color, which was a handheld system. So William said that it was the Sega Genesis. I remember very little of playing it back then. Like the first one I ever fully remember playing was Pokemon on the Game Boy Color, so I'm gonna say the Game Boy Color for me. What's your favorite gaming system and why? It's gotta be the GameCube. The GameCube was the first time I ever got my own system, because around that same time, like, William was picking up the PS2 a little later after we got the GameCube. But the GameCube has some of like my favorite video games of all time on there, like Smash Bros. Melee, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, I remember some other ones. Super Mario Strikers is pretty cool. Animal Crossing, like the original Animal Crossing. There's a bunch of like really good games on the GameCube that a lot of people have forgotten. Like really, when someone talks to you about the GameCube, the only game they'll mention is like Super Smash Bros. Melee, which arguably it is the most popular GameCube game. But it's not the only one that was there. There's a lot of GameCube games that are there, and a lot of them are really cool. Do you prefer to play guy characters or girl characters? I actually like playing female characters better. I was trying to think of a reason why, and I remember something that Egoraptor from Game Grumps had said. He's saying like, yeah, I like to play female characters. I mean, like, I'd rather stare... I hate to stare at a dude's grundle the whole time while playing a game. I'd rather stare at a girl's nifkin. And I was like, okay, you'd rather stare at a woman's ass, but I don't know, it's just something more appealing, because, like, I don't know, the female characters are nicer to look at. I don't know. That's all I can say about that. Do you follow walkthroughs or do you play through on your own? I'd have to say it depends on the game. Like, depends on how hard the game is, how easy the game is. With, like, the 10-hour Catherine thing, I did have to use a walkthrough here and there on, like, certain puzzles, because certain puzzles were, like, fucking impossible compared to others. Like, I think the last level, where you're going through, like, 5 different extremely hard puzzles, there was, like, 1 or 2 of them I had to use a walkthrough to, like, get past, like, a certain point, because I don't think I would have been able to get past those puzzles without it. And then some other games, whenever I want to... There's, like, some other times, like, in certain games, whenever I want to learn, like, a certain thing, I don't use it, like, fully, but I'll, like... Say if I'm going through, like... I had to use it a few times for, like, Fire Emblem Awakening, just to get, like, a full, like, overview of the... like, the next stage I'll be going into, seeing what character I was going to get, or, like, what I was going to come across, just to kind of prepare myself for the next level. Have you ever been to a gaming convention? So this is very similar to William's answer. He said Fan Expo only, but I've been to Fan Expo, Anime North, and Toronto Comic Con, and all 3 of those have gaming sections in it, despite the fact Anime North is called Anime North. But they all have like a video game section in them, albeit rather small, and like only a section, but it still has some gaming sections. What game are you most excited for to come out in the future? Fire Emblem Fates. Did not waste any time with coming up with that answer, because Fire Emblem Fates looks fucking beautiful. I'm actually looking forward to that game more than I am the crossover game with Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem. I mean, I'm looking forward to that game too, but Fire Emblem Fates, I love a new Fire Emblem. I always love when Fire Emblem comes out with a new game. I've been a fan ever since the original Fire Emblem 7, the one with Eliwood, Hector, and Lyn, which is the first Fire Emblem game that came out over in the West. Yeah, I've been a fan of this series ever since that game came out. I played that game, I played Sacred Stones, I played Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn. I skipped Shadow Dragon because I heard a lot of negative reviews about that game. And I didn't really like the art style on Shadow Dragon, but I played Awakening. I tried playing Heroes of Light and Shadow. I need a translation for Light and Shadow, so I didn't get that far in that game. But yeah, I played a lot of the ones that came out here in the West. I even tried to play Binding Blade, the one that had Roy. And yeah, that one's really good too. What's your best memory of a video game? I'm still going to say the beating Catherine in 10 hours, because a lot of people have trouble with that game even now. That's probably one of my favorite memories. I know there's probably some other ones, like playing with a bunch of friends. I did do like a Smash Bros. Melee tournament back when I was in like grade 7 that I did pretty well in, and it changed a lot of people's opinions about me in my class. What's your worst memory of a video game? I mention this every time. Halo 4. There's something that happens in the story that fucking pissed me off, and I've not gone back and finished the story ever since. It's the level where you're driving a Pelican, and you're going to like 3 different towers, and you have to like shut them off or something. And each tower takes like 20 minutes to go through. I go through the first 2 towers, no problem, and I go through the last tower. And in that last tower, as soon as you get inside, it like pushes you into it like through a man cannon, and it has like appearing floors as you walk. So I get pushed through on the man cannon, and the floor did not appear below where I was going to drop. And I fall through the floor and hit like an area underneath, and the floor appears up right above me, and it checkpoints me right here. And I'm like standing on a little ledge, and I'm like, shit, I don't know where to go. Okay, I guess I can't jump back on, so I'm gonna jump off. And then checkpoint, I'm back here. So I have to restart the mission and go back and do all 3 towers over again. And I literally turned off the game right there. And I have not gone back and finished Halo 4 story because of that. And I know I've mentioned that a bunch of times on both A Girl in a Game, or A Girl in a Podcast, and the Stardust Drive podcast. I've mentioned it on both podcasts because I got so fucking pissed at that. Final question, 21. Which video game character do you see yourself as? Or, if you had to be represented by a video game character, who would you be? Okay, I was thinking about this a lot, and I had a really tough time trying to come up with an answer. I narrowed it down. It had to be someone in Fire Emblem, because Fire Emblem has like a huge like array of different characters, different personalities. Any of them that could like represent me, I guess. But then I looked at each one and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go with one that I feel like I would be. I feel like I could be the best at. And I actually went with Donald from Fire Emblem Awakening. I have like a huge respect for that character, despite the fact that people keep insisting that he's the worst character in the game. There's not really a really bad character in Fire Emblem Awakening because of how you can basically max out everyone's stats in that game. I don't know, there's just something about him. It's like I said before, that I like playing games where you're like the everyman. Literally, Donald is just like a farmer that gets pulled into the war, and well, he's a villager. He's really bad when he starts off, but like the whole point of training him is that like when you train him, he'll pretty much be like one of the best characters in your party. And every time I play Fire Emblem Awakening, I go through the same thing. I always get Donald, I always train him, I always turn him into a mercenary, and then train so he can get the arms thrift, which basically means he doesn't waste any weapons, and then I turn him into a hero, and then I turn him into a dread fighter. So he's basically fucking unstoppable. And I love how he just goes through that journey. I just love his character, and he's like a country boy. He's a little country boy. Fucking, I don't know, tending the fields. And fucking, I don't know, he's got a bucket on his head. What else do you want? I remember someone posting that he can plow a 1,000-year-old dragon pussy. Fucking... Do I really have to say anything more? Anyways, guys, that's it for me. That's it for Carter. I forgot to do tags. Shit. Okay, so basically at the end of the video game tag, you have to tag people. Fuck, I hate tagging people. Basically, you have to tag at least 3 people into doing this tag. But you know what? Since I'm being nice, I'm being very nice. Being very nice, and I didn't think about who I should tag before I did this. If you're watching this video, and you would like to make a video of this, I will post the questions below. And if you want to, you can make a video and send it back to me. I'm not gonna force you to, because I hate tagging people and shit. No one's forcing you to. No one is forcing you, okay? So if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. I will see you guys later, and I am going to go back to doing absolutely nothing all day and then going to work. Bye, guys.